Live from Beckwith Recital Hall on the campus of the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, it's An Evening with One Tree Hill. She portrayed Mrs. Edwards in some of the most important episodes of One Tree Hill. Please welcome to the stage Professor of Theater here at UNCW and our moderator for this evening's events, Dr. Renee Vincent.
Good evening, and welcome to An Evening with One Tree Hill. Without further ado, help me please with the UNCW Pep Band to introduce to you the One Tree Hill actors and creator. James Laffer.
Dude, how good was the band?
Let's hear it again for the band. Thank you so much, UNCW Pep Band, and thank you for that warm welcome. We're going to begin with a little bit of a backstory. Every story's got one, right, Mark?
This one certainly does.
It certainly does. Tonight is all about a free flow of conversation in which we will get their side of the story. But we couldn't begin any place better than the mastermind of One Tree Hill, and that would be the creator, Mr. Mark Schwann. Now, Mark, I don't know about this story, but I understand there's the most interesting story about the ceiling in your office and something about a camera.
By mastermind, she means knucklehead, by the way. You know, the first season was a struggle. Everybody remembers that how difficult it was. And we weren't on the air. We weren't on the air until mid-season. So at some point, they'd throw out scripts, and they'd tell me the scripts weren't very good, and they'd tell me that we were doing it all wrong, and I was writing the shows wrong, and it was just such a mess. And so I would stay in the office till 2 and 3 in the morning. And one particular night, I just had this thought that maybe there is no show. Like maybe that I'm on a reality show and that they're just screwing with me because the show wasn't on the air and it was disastrous. And so I got up on my desk because the ceiling tiles had like holes in them and I thought maybe there were cameras in the ceiling. So I was standing on my desk looking in the ceiling, and Mike Kelly walked in, who's the creator of Revenge, which is on now. And he was working on our staff then, and he walked in, and I was looking in the ceiling, and he was like, dude, what are you doing? And I just looked at him, and I said, there's no show. And he was like, what? And I said, there's no show, they're just messing with me. And he was like, you gotta go home. Let's get you a drink of water and sit you down. And that's how miserable it was. And I was just convinced that I said, who wouldn't sign the waiver? Like, this would be a really funny reality show. So that's pretty much what I was doing season 1. And fortunately, that's how you get to 187 episodes somehow.
When did you know that you had a hit on your hands?
The cast was going on MTV the first time. And Joe Davola, who should be sitting up here, he was very influential at MTV back in the day, and he pulled a bunch of strings and got the cast's appearance on MTV because we were such a little show, and all I'd been hearing in Los Angeles is that the show was failing miserably. And so the entire writing staff went over to the studio corporate office to watch the TV in the lobby because we didn't have cable, to see the cast on MTV. And we went in and they said, when we come back, the cast from One Tree Hill, and they went to commercial, and when they came back, there was a mob in the streets. And there was, I will never forget, there was some guy, God bless him, he brought a little tree, and he was like holding the tree up in the crowd. And we were watching it, it was so surreal. You have to understand, it was my show, but that wasn't my show. Like, I was watching this mob of people going crazy for you guys, and I was thinking, what show is that? Because I'm being told that this is not happening, and that's when I knew. I was like, there are a lot of people out there that love this show, and that was the day, and that was probably like 6 or 7 episodes into season 1, I think.
You've had a lot of surprises, and though it became such a success, season after season after season, you didn't know if you were going to return. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I always knew we were going to return, but they you know what's funny about that? They kept us on our heels a little bit, and every year we would have a little bit of anxiety about, are we going to get picked up for the back 9? Are we going to come back next season? But it also gave us the opportunity to have like a bunch of really happy feelings when we did. You know, we never knew. And I found an article, I found a Variety magazine in my office recently, and it said that all the shows it was the WB then, all the shows on the WB have been picked up except for ours. And I didn't even look at the date because I just thought, well, that could have been any year. Like, we were the last show picked up every year. So I think the actual article was from season 3, but it was all right. I felt every year that we would not only get picked up, but we would come back. And if you look at the finales, sometimes we did cliffhangers because I just felt like they would say to me, like, which one do you want to run? We usually cut 2 endings. Which one, like when we went to Utah. That season would have ended with Jackson's character saying, "It sure is a long way up, Mama," and Joyce saying, "It's just a hill, we'll climb it together," and everybody went up the hill, and that would have ended it had that been a series finale, I think. But I just felt like we were coming back for another season, so I said, let's go with the cliffhanger, so we shot these 2, and we moved on.
So after such a successful series and 9 years and 187 episodes, what will you personally take away from this experience, Mark?
A lot of money. I used to have an expression because, you know, we haven't exactly been liked by the critics. I don't know if you noticed. But they would complain and they would tear us down every year, and I used to say, as they bitch, I get rich. But truly, I'll take away the relationships. I just think that it has been life-changing because of the people that have come into my life because of it. Most of them are up here, but a lot of them are out there. And the producers and the crew, and this one obviously has been life-changing because of everybody involved.
Let's talk to everybody involved. Let's go on now.
I know, enough yap from me. Let's talk to the pretty people.
James Lafferty.
That's what I said when I auditioned.
Very kind.
James, how old were you when you first came to One Tree Hill?
I was 17 when we shot the pilot. 17 years old, yeah.
Basically Jackson's age now.
Yeah. I was actually less mature than Jackson, but a little bit older. And I actually left during my senior year of high school for 2 weeks to come shoot the first episode, to shoot the pilot. And I actually, I remember I called a girl and asked her to prom while I was in Wilmington. So that if I got rejected, I was as far away as possible and felt no shame. But yeah, it was bizarre. I was leading sort of like a double life there for a little bit.
Wow. How have your feelings changed through the years?
Well, I mean, along with all the hormonal changes that you go through from the time that you're 17 to 26.
Well, I was thinking more like, director, becoming a director.
No, it's been crazy. It's just I've learned everything that I know about what I do now has come through the show. And I've developed an entirely different skill set, and then I've been able to direct episodes of the show, and I've learned an incredible amount through that. It teaches you so much about the entire world of what we do, instead of being just so focused about just the acting part. And that to me is priceless, and not to mention just growing up here in Wilmington, growing up on the show. It's been my entire adult life, so as you can imagine, the changes that you go through from 17 to 26, they've all happened here.
Bethany Joy Gagliardi. She has played Haley James Scott for 9 seasons. When you look back, did you ever expect to be hearing that phrase?
No, I mean, my gosh, when we started, I remember them telling me, I remember calling my manager and being like, should I get an apartment? And she goes, I don't know, they just keep telling me you're here just because they don't know if it's gonna last. So, and every episode I'd call, it's episode 4, like, should I get an apartment? No, just stay in the hotel. We don't know if it's gonna. And, like you said, we were on the bubble every year, but I too had a feeling that we were coming back. There was something watching over our little show, and all of us together, we just got to, every year I just felt like we're not done yet. I'm not done with these guys yet, in my heart, so yeah, it's been amazing.
Sophia Bush. Has played Brooke Davis Baker for 9 seasons. There are a lot of performance majors, and I know that they're interested in what the audition process might have been like for you 9 seasons ago when you were brought in.
Yeah. Wow. It's funny, you heard from Joe Davola a little while ago, and a production company that Joe was running at the time called Tolan Robbins produced this pilot. And they also were producing a lot of other shows that year. And I actually was filming a different pilot with them when everybody was here shooting this one. And I got a call, and anybody who knows Joe will get it, and it was like, we filmed this TV show, and there's all these kids, and it's really depressing. And we want to have like one really funny person come in and stir the pot. And I was like, well, okay. And they said, will you come in and read for this show? So I came in and read, and was told that I was not sexy enough to play Brooke. So then I came in again and wore this mini skirt that I wanted to dye.
I remember that.
And Mark told me later that the first skirt I wore was not sexy, and the second skirt I wore was too short. And so I guess it was like, Goldilocks, like the third try, I got it right. And read for this big room, and it's kind of like this. I remember walking in and sitting down going, there are so many people looking at me. And it was awful, but it worked. And then comes up to me in the hall, and he goes, what did you do in there? Like, what did you do? The only other person who read for this is on a tape, and we never cast off a tape. What did you do? And I was like, I blew it. I totally blew it. And all the guys ran in and were like, you got the job! So that was the first time I punched Mark Schwann.
I remember Sophia said to me, she said, when we said, just kind of like, they want this character to be like sexy, so just like wear something else. And she said, well, I know that you and Joe, like, it's about my acting, right? And I said, you've seriously overestimated us.
Austin Nichols. So what's so special about One Tree Hill?
I mean, I always thought I was coming to play a villain, and 10 episodes turned into 12, and then I think it turned into 14 or 15 or something. I went away for 3, and then I came back to do, I think, the last 2 episodes of season 6. And I remember he called me, and it was really late at night. I don't know why you called me so late, man.
Because I had just gotten done looking in the ceiling.
And he said, how would you feel about being a series regular? And I was like, wow. I never saw it coming. And, you know, Mark thought he saw something else in Julian, that he could do something else with him. And I thought it would be an incredible challenge to take a guy who was sort of a bachelor movie producer, you know, with questionable intentions showing up in town, and try to turn him into a loving boyfriend to then become a husband and a father and a successful, you know, filmmaker and friends with all these great people. And I thought that would be a lot of fun, so I said yes.
Well, it was easy to see the chemistry that Austin had with Sophia. We'd been searching for the right character for Brooke, as the fans know, and I remember that we put a book together to take to the CW of like the online responses to Julian and Brooke. And what I love about it is, as you guys well know, this is usually the approach online, is I would just open the book and just point. And I would read this in the writer's office, and we would all laugh. I would just point to a comment, and it would say, "Brooke and Julian have so much chemistry. Please, Mark, don't screw this up." And I would turn the page again, and it was like, "I hope Mark realizes that Julian's awesome." And I would turn the page, and that was love. That was what we were feeling, was love for that character.
Robert Buckley.
Let's see. You know, they had an interesting way of introducing me to One Tree Hill, in that it didn't actually make it to air, but the original first scene that you see Clay in, Mark had written it, that Clay is giving a lecture to a classroom of like 250 students. So my first day, my first scene, it was in their infinite wisdom that to ease me into the swing of things, they would put me in front of 250 extras and have me do a page monologue. That ended up getting scrapped. So
it was never going in the episode. We were just screwing with him.
Yeah. And I was so nervous. Not to mention they wanted the character to be a little bit older initially for Clay. So you know, for all the loyalists out there, you recall I had this like really like pathetic, like the little beard that could int. So it's just like I was so out of my element, and coming into a show that was already like well into its stride. Suffice to say, yeah, I was pretty nervous. So I thought, okay, if this new season doesn't go anywhere but up, it's entirely my fault. So there was a lot of nerves that first day and that first week.
Well, you did very well, I think.
Thank you.
Yes. Chantel Van Sant.
Yes.
When you first joined the show, now 3 seasons ago, how has One Tree Hill changed your life?
Oh, man. Well, when I first joined, I was told that I would only be on the show 1 year, that it was probably only going to last a year, and then I'd move on to other things. So I went into it with that mentality, and I got to meet Rob, and we watched some of the past seasons, because I unfortunately was not a fan of the show. But I didn't have a TV, so that's okay. But I joined, and it's kind of grown, and our characters have grown, and now I can't believe I haven't, I'm jealous I haven't been on it for 9 years, you know, because the writing's always incredible, and the relationships I have are incredible, and working with such talented people. You know, it's changed my life for the better, every experience. You know, even if it was something that I felt was negative at the time, it probably helped me grow even more as an actress and as a human being.
She got to throw cake at Jackson for her first
Yeah, my
day.
very first day, I got to have a cake fight with me and Jackson and Joy.
And you also, you know, Rob and Chantel came in, we knew that their characters would spend a lot of time together. At least that was our plan. And it's always nice because they became such fast friends. Like, I think immediately you guys became friends, and that was so encouraging.
So, Jackson Brundage.
My turn.
Played Jamie Scott since season 5 and literally grown up before our eyes, including cake fights. Yeah? What's your favorite thing besides cake fights about playing Jamie?
Well, I think I like Jamie because he's kind of like me. So he likes to play around, he likes sports, and he's just like me. He likes to do the stuff that I do.
Can I talk about Jackson's audition?
Sure.
We knew there was a lot of pressure. We took it so seriously that we were trying
Funniest thing in the world, by the way.
we were trying to find Nathan and Haley's son. And as you know, we did the jump ahead, so we were going to meet the son after we were going to meet a baby, we were going to meet the little boy. And there was a lot of pressure to find like a great kid. On top of that, you can see how this went. Anyway, we looked everywhere. We looked in New York, we looked in Florida, we looked in LA, we looked everywhere. And it was right in our backyard. Jody and Jackson came in. He came in red and he was so good, but I was worried. You always worry that you're taking a young person and putting them in the rigors of a TV show, and they're gonna be around adults, you're gonna take them out of school and all that stuff, you know? You see these terrible stories about kid actors. I wanted to talk to Jody, his mom, and I wanted to make sure, what the family was all about. But before we brought Jody in, I said to Jackson, so just tell me about your life and, what do you do? And you were born like 2 weeks ago, so like, what do you do? And he said, I said, like, what's your favorite pie? He said, I've never had pie. Now, I didn't know that Jody was a nutritionist and so I immediately thought like crazy stage mom. So I said, I leaned up and I said, do you want pie? And they won't let you have pie? I swear. And Jackson looked at me and he goes, I'm a chocolate guy. And I was like, he's killing it. He'll be great. And he has been. It's been wonderful.
I'm a chocolate kind of person, too. Yeah, I'm with you. Antoine Tanner. Hey, Skills.
What's up?
Skills has been with us since season 1. How was the set of One Tree Hill and working with this show different than all the others you've worked on?
Well, when I first came out here, I didn't read the script because I've always been a fan of swamps, always. So
Coach Carter.
And so when I came,
I love that movie.
Thank you, sir. That's my dog right there. So when I was out here, everybody was like, yeah, like everybody moved, like everybody said their mood was down, like, oh man, I don't know. And I was like, no, this show gonna be good. I'm see y'all like season 8. They was like, Twan, shut up. I swear I said it from day one. I said, no, we gonna be around because I know his talent. So when I got here, I was just having fun. I was banging. Me and James and Chad was throwing plates out of the Riverview window and see if they could land in a hurricane. So we was immature, but we had fun.
And Antoine, he claims it was because of my talent, but I distinctly remember Antoine came, he did the pilot, he did all his scenes on the river court, he went back to LA, the show debuts. Months later, he calls me up and he goes, this show's good. I said, and I distinctly remember, he said, I didn't know they were brothers. I swear to God.
I said I didn't read the script.
And he said, I just read my part.
I read my part. And,
no, but in his defense, he does that because he likes to be surprised. I love that about you. He genuinely likes to be surprised.
He did say, he said, I didn't know they were brothers. He said, it's good. I think this show's gonna make it. I said, that's good considering we filmed it 6 months ago.
You're the man, Antoine. You're the
I'm
man.
the man.
Lee Norris.
Hello, everybody.
I thought Coletti was the prop comic.
Lee, because you're a North Carolina native, we also want to ask you what it's been like to work in the Tar Heel State and to be here in Wilmington.
Now I do need the tissues. It's been amazing. I am from North Carolina, and I think all of us, we want to find something that we love to do, and acting is obviously that for me. But then to get to do acting in North Carolina, my home state, and be 2 hours from my parents is just an unbelievable feeling. You know, you can't top that. And it's not lost on me that a lot of the people on this stage have been away from their families for 9 years. And I just feel really grateful that I've gotten to do it. And I am gonna cry, shit. All right, well. So it's been pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm very grateful. Yeah.
Lisa Goldstein. Lisa, did you ever think that the mousy secretary that first appeared carrying Brooks' coffee would become such a fully fledged character full of depth with 5 seasons worth of stories to tell?
Absolutely not. I didn't even think I was gonna book the role in the first place. I remember I put the first scene on tape, which is the first scene of season 5 with Sophia, and at my agent's office in Orlando, and I forgot about it because nobody ever books anything from a tape. So I got a call from my agent a week later that I had booked the role, and I had to have my friend listen to it because I was like, I don't think I'm hearing this right. Can you listen to this for me? Because this doesn't sound like something that would happen. So then when I kept getting brought back, it was just kind of surreal for me. And then when I got the call that Mark wanted me to be a regular, I was driving and I had to pull over because I was like shaking and really excited. And I just never thought that this would happen to me. Here I go.
I can't help it. Can I have a tissue, please?
What? Oh, here you go. And then I got to wear a chicken suit on television.
Oh.
The cherry on top of the cake.
That was wonderful. Stephen Coletti. How have you grown as a person and as an actor?
First, you asked how you've grown as a person. I think we're still working on that part.
Okay, next.
This is why I do this. I get to get away with playing like a kid the rest of my life. This is why we're in this. But have I grown? I mean, there's no real way to put that. It's leaps and bounds is still an understatement. I mean, the privilege of coming onto this show in the middle of it all was, you know, like one of the biggest blessings in my life. Like I'd already felt like one of the luckiest people to walk this earth, and then to get the opportunity to come on this show, such a successful show, in the middle of it, and work with all these great people and these great actors, it was, you know, there's definitely a panic of like, you know, first getting in there, like, oh my God, like, are we gonna be able to do this? Like, you get thrown right in there, and I was like, but this is what I want to do, and so it was, you know, jumping off the cliff and going into it, and, you know, that builds character, and that builds you as a person, helps you grow, and thankfully Mark Schwann gave me the opportunity to do so. You know, it's grown me into the person that I am now, which is almost on the brink of being a man, but I don't think I'm never gonna let myself get there because I like to be a kid at heart for the rest of my life, and that's, you know, that's why I act. That's why we do this.
Daphne Zuniga. Has played Victoria since season 5. Now, this question was scripted. Daphne, is it fun to play the bitch?
Hell yes. Yeah, I feel like, you know, when Mark first talked to me about the part, he said, you know, she's a real villain. Like, I really want you to go for it. And I thought, okay, yeah, I'll go for it. And then I think the first day or so on the set, Mark would come up and say, more, be meaner. And I'm like, but I'm her mother, you know? And, but once, you know, I mean, how many times you need the creator and director to tell you more, and then you just go for it. And once I just clicked into it and let it go, it was so, what's the word? When you just get to do something that nobody else gets to say, but we all think, but I get to say it. It's amazing. It's really, really fun.
Well, again, for actors, you've got Austin, who said that he came on as a villain. James, certainly Nathan was a villain. Daphne came on as a villain. Sophie Brooke was a bit of a nightmare. But you ask them to commit to that. I remember saying to James, look, kids are gonna throw slushies on you at the mall. It's just gonna, like, you're gonna be like the bad guy. But the places we can go with that character, if you commit to playing that. And you know, all 4 of those characters became so beloved and so well liked, and for all the right reasons, because we had a place to take those characters. And it's a tribute to them that they were brave enough to play
the people we love to hate.
The people we love to hate.
The people we love to hate.
Yep.
And yet again, another extraordinary example of how One Tree Hill breaks the mold. Another way is through a universal language called music. Known for breaking in new artists and exploding careers, the show has been a breeding ground for the best and the brightest of musical talents. Let's continue the conversation of music with our resident dual threat singer and actress, Bethany Joy. What did you think when Mark told you about the tour, and what was your experience like on that sold out? This is amazing to me. 29 city, One Tree Hill music tour.
You know, talk about growing up on a show. I mean, there's just so much as a person that you learn when you grow up in an environment like this. And especially when you're growing up and expected to be working too and achieve the responsibilities that people in the working world have to be there and show up on time and be professional and, you know, be kind to each other and just everything that's encompassed in that world. And I have to say, you know, before this tour, I really took for granted the concept of what we were doing with the music on the show. I didn't get it. I didn't see what was happening. And so, you know, they told me about the tour, and I thought, yeah, that'll be fun. I was mostly like, oh my God, like, I'm gonna be traveling a lot, and like, I just kind of in my own, you know, was 23 world. And we got on that road, and it was like, oh my God, this is affecting so many more people than I ever knew and understood.
We probably shouldn't continue a discussion about music on the show without Davola being up here, though. Don't you guys think Joe should participate?
There he is. Hands for Joe Davola, please. This is Joe Davola, ladies and gentlemen. Take it away, Joe.
I have no, what's the question, Doc?
Talk about the music.
We're talking about your
I love
favorite
music. You know
thing,
what I was thinking about also? I directed a lot of Joy doing music on the show.
You did.
I did the 40s episode, which she was amazing at. She was amazing.
I remember, I come into the trailer, I was so excited. We were doing a 40s episode. I had my wig on, my lipstick, and my outfit, and then James walks in and he's shaving his face, and I said, you ready to play? And then he kind of goes, yeah. I remember leaving like totally deflated.
What was amazing, she wrote all the songs, which were great. There were like 3 or 4 songs. Amazing. She looked beautiful. She looked amazing.
I wanted Joe to talk about Seattle was the first night of our tour.
Yeah.
The music tour. And Joy was playing first.
Yeah.
You should talk about that.
Mark and I were sitting down, and I really started to cry because...
See, I knew I could get him up here and get him emotional.
I'm not going to be the one crying here. Where are the tissues? No, because I've been in the music business my whole life, and to have the warm-up act, which is Joy, she was the warm-up act. Nobody sits in their seats for the warm-up act. Everybody waits for the main act to come on. We had 4 acts. Joy was first up, and everybody was in their seats. I was like, this is amazing. This never happens. We're blessed. And it was a very touching evening to see that happen, and it was great.
Let's turn our heads and hearts now to some other men and women and craftsmen who are behind the curtain also. You know, these people are the faces of One Tree Hill, but we wouldn't be where we are without our wonderful crew. Let's give them a hand, our crew. Sophia Bush. You've known many of these great craftsmen for 9 years, but recently you got to know them even better. Let's have a look.
Hey guys, I am about to take you on an adventure that we are affectionately calling Crew Cam. I decided to flip the lens on everybody who's generally behind the camera on this set because if you've heard that phrase, it takes a village, it really truly does. We have over 200 people who work on this show tirelessly every day to make it happen and to bring it to all of you, and we couldn't do our jobs without them. If it were not for the crew, we'd be a bunch of actors with no wardrobe out on the street saying lines we'd try to make up ourselves. So I really want to give you a chance to get to know the people who have brought One Tree Hill to you for 9 years. Enjoy.
There are 400 people who are employed by this show.
That's actually my boss, which is totally straight.
Whose families count on this show.
I met my wife on the show. We have a baby now.
We met because of the show.
Yes.
Getting married.
And quite frankly, who enjoy making this show.
I went from an extra to the second AD, and I couldn't be happier.
I love this show. They call me Biggie. When the show is over, we'll always remember each other.
We're Puerto Rico.
I'm
really
the script
important
supervisor.
to this show.
I'm the operator.
I'm the department head and makeup artist.
I'm the digital loader in the camera department. I'm the gaffer. I'm the transportation coordinator.
Second AD.
Matt. Prep service.
Vicky, prep service.
Sometimes we get them in frame, and sometimes we don't.
Vicky brings the recycling bins to set.
I kind of help schedule cast.
I'm one of the executive producers. The full camera has to be rigged in a tree, car.
You are one of the most important people on this crew.
I'm Peter Kowalski. I'm the director of photography. I love this show.
The coolest makeup artist ever.
Besides being part of a family, it's been an extraordinary experience as a filmmaker, too.
I'm the rigging gaffer.
I work in transportation.
I'm a lighting technician. I love the cast, I love the crew, and I love shooting in Wilmington, North Carolina.
I'm the production sound mixer.
I do first team on set.
I'm the B-dolly grip.
We are with a very, very important member of our crew.
I'm David Hartley. I'm one of the producers and the production manager on One Tree Hill.
I operate this camera.
I'm the key hairstylist.
I am a third, also known as a utility, also known as a cable puller, also known as second boom.
I'm production office coordinator.
Chef's extraordinaire. I'm department head here.
I am the E-camera second assistant.
I'm the boom operator.
Look at this. Look at these muscles. Humidity.
It's such a blessing to be able to come here every day.
The thing that I hang on to is the people.
I feel a huge brotherhood.
It's all been such a great memory. It's kind of like you going to work with people that you love.
I've just fallen in love with everybody. They're like my surrogate children.
It's a lot of things. There's been a lot of fun stuff.
We want our money now.
9 years later, it's crazy that we're still here.
Speaking of great faces,
It's a fun family to come into.
I want to think that maybe I haven't had my best moment yet.
It's just been a joy getting to know people so well.
Friendships, it's all like a big family of friends. And what I'll take away is just the camaraderie.
Such a sense of enthusiasm on our set. There is a sense of family and a sense of inclusion.
Once they hired me, I told them, I said, I love it here. You are not going to drag me away from this place.
After 9 years doing this, you know, I can truly say that I'm proud to work on One Tree Hill.
James Lafferty. So, you've virtually grown up with this crew also. Talk about their impact on you as an actor and as a director.
I mean, there's not enough you can say about it. They've taught me everything I know. It's plain and simple. When you decide that you want to take that step and try to direct an episode, I guess you don't really realize what you're getting yourself into. And you've got to completely immerse yourself in the project, and you really learn everything about production in and out. You work closely with the department heads, and you work closely with their departments to sort of to make it happen in your prep work and on set, and you learn from them. Because honestly, I knew probably 20% of what I should have known going into it, and with a crew like this, they're so understanding. They're so good at their jobs. They're such professionals. They can really guide you through the process and make sure that you don't fail. and that you give them, that you give the best possible episode that you can. And with every single episode that I've directed, I continue to learn more from them. And I mean, they're like, it's like 150 people that are one professor for film school that it's like I've learned everything that I know through them. So I owe it all to them.
Plus, they're acting a lot when they're directing. So it's very rare that they're out of an episode that they're directing. So there's a nice group of, our script supervisor has directed, our DP has directed, Greg Prange and David Hartley are there, and they're an extra set of eyes. Greg's directed more episodes than anybody of this show. First of all, everyone who has directed from the cast has had a really great vision and have been very adept at it, having been in this family for a long time. But when they're on camera, there's a nice safety net.
We've heard from the creator and cast of One Tree Hill, but there's just one more important entity that has made this show such a success. Are you ready? It's the fans. Let's take some questions now from the fans right here in the auditorium and around the world. Our first question comes via Twitter from Yankee21 Love. They want to know Lee Norris.
Yes.
Lee, when did you know the show had such a loyal fan base?
Oh, man. I'm trying to think. I actually had the privilege of working on some other shows as a kid, and so I knew about loyal fans. But I have never met a fan like a One Tree Hill fan in my entire life. You're here, you're awesome. I know the first time it really kind of clicked for me was, I think, back in season 1, I was actually still in college when I was doing the show, and I was driving. I was, wasn't a series regular, I was reoccurring, so I was going back and forth. One day there was like this car that was just like, the lights were going, the windshields were going behind me, and I was like, oh my God, someone's in trouble. Like, what's wrong with this car? And I pulled over so they could go around or whatever, and they sped up, and it was these two girls who were screaming and crying and just yelling and waving, and I was like, please don't die, I see you. And the show had just started airing and really had found its groove and was really clicking, and I had to pull off and get gas or something, and so I just kind of waved and pulled off, and I got gas in 20 minutes and got something to eat. 20 minutes later, I pulled back on, and they had stopped at the exit and were waiting for me. And I was like, oh no, I don't know what to do. But that's when I think I really knew. Also, we got to go on the music tour and announce MC, and so that's really the first time that I got to meet a lot of you guys face to face. And I think, if I can, say so, I think it's what set our show apart from a lot of other teen shows of that genre, was what Joe and Mark did in the interaction and getting us out there and doing things like this, and I think that's why every year when it came down to are we coming back or are we not, I think it's those things that pushed us over the edge. So thanks, guys. You got me.
From Lozabelle in Sydney, Australia, Antoine.
What up?
What up? Antoine, when did you know that you were a part of something really, really special?
Well, when I found out was the day that the network switched, and we was in the locker room shooting a scene, and Swan was like, "Oh God, the network switches to CW now because they combined with UPN and the WB, and they was like, all the shows on WB is canceled, but they haven't said anything about us." So I remember he got a text, and he was like, "Okay, we might be good." Once I heard that, I was like, yeah, we straight. So I was cool. Like I said, I kind of knew from the door once I actually watched the pilot. And when I watched it, and I was like, I really was like, damn, this is really good. And I don't watch a lot of stuff. I watch First 48, I watch those kind of shows. But for me to actually be a fan of Tree Hill, I was like, this James and this Chad guy is pretty good. I like how they're doing their thing. So that's when I thought it was special.
I think Antoine actually came up to me and said, you could do this for a living, you know that?
Yep. He was pretty good at it.
We have a live microphone for questions, And this one comes from Carrie Jean J. Would you like to come down, please?
Lee.
Hi, my question is for the whole cast, and it kind of has two parts. What is it that you admire most about your character, and how is your life similar to theirs?
I answer. I got it. Skills is really Antoine, like, period. I was happy Swan actually named me Antoine on the show. That was hot. I was a high school basketball player. It was pretty good. I was the class clown, the little joker dude, and, you know, I take the words that he write, I switch them up sometimes. Just keep it funny, you know what I'm saying? But the character is me. So I just use his words and just make them me, because it's not a stretch. I got the easiest job in the world.
I got criticized once for how I wrote Skills as dialogue. And I said, I don't write that. That's how he says it.
And it's funny because when Swan write it, I go be like, I'm not gonna say that. And he the boss. So.
All right,
I'd like to answer.
Good luck with that one.
I know. I'm kind of the luckiest guy up here because, you know, Julian, I don't know if, you know, Mark has been known to farm our real lives and put them on TV. It happens a lot on television. It's good, and the things are real for us. And I don't know if Julian got to direct because I wanted to direct, or if I got to direct because Julian wanted to direct, and I don't care because it all worked out really good for me. But that was kind of the great thing that, you know, the similarity for me. And also, one thing about my first question from you, Dr. Vincent, about, you know, why is One Tree Hill special? You know, there's no other show on planet Earth where this would have happened to me. There's no other place where I would have been able to direct after coming into a show late and as a guest and then becoming a series regular. It would have been impossible, and I don't think people realize that, and I just want everybody to know how amazing and rare and how lucky I am. So thank you.
Twitter is talking to us, and now this is from Meg Gellert, and here's her question. You guys have had the opportunity to do some traveling in the show. What's your favorite place that you went to, or is Wilmington your home? Yes! Go, Jackson.
Well, even though I didn't go, Mark, Puerto Rico would have been my favorite place. But my second choice would have to be Utah. But Mark, thanks for Utah, but whatever.
It's been great traveling. You know, it's always been fun. Honey Grove was such an adventure, and Utah, his grandma was just packed up and opened up a bed and breakfast in Park City. I was like, I'm done. This is it. This is the best. But nothing compares to Wilmington. I love it here. This place has really become home, and it's in my heart.
Well, back to Wilmington and our audience question. Miss Tori Winsky, do you have a question?
Come on, boo.
Tori! Come on, boo. Come on down, Tori.
This is for everyone. What made you all decide to go into this business?
I had no choice in the matter. I knew it was, I started doing theater when I was a kid, and I was done for. The bug bit me, and I was in.
Jackson, what about you?
I don't know. I guess started out with commercials. Didn't really get any commercials. Then I went out for this, and there we go. So
all the pie you could ever want.
All the pie you could ever want.
I have a really specific moment. I went to see Guys and Dolls on Broadway when I was 12 years old with my mom. And Faith Prince came on stage, and it's the first time you see her character. And she starts singing A Bushel and a Peck, which is a really classic musical theater song. Everybody knows it. And she made these choices that made it even better than what it already was. And it was that the fact that she could elevate something and make it 100 times better than what it was on the page that kind of really hooked me. I just was really inspired by that. So that's when the bug
And then
bit me.
cut to Lisa's audition for the secretary who's going to be in one scene
Yeah.
with the Brooke Davis, and she picked out this really, I remember the top, the jacket that you wore.
Yeah, which is, I wore it in the audition.
She
and
wore
I
it in the
on
audition, and I said,
show.
that jacket she's so funny. And they said, that's her jacket. And I said, make sure she wears that in the scene.
And then the glasses are mine too.
And the glasses
Yeah.
and everything. So cut to somebody making choices that elevates the material.
Right.
And comes full circle.
I would like to hear Daphne's answer to that question.
I was gonna say the same, exactly.
So Daphne, we have a request. How'd you get in the business, doll?
And why?
Why? Well, I feel like because I came when my parents divorced when I was really young, and so I didn't really want to be at home, so I'd stay at school. And there was sports, which I was at, but there was the theater department, and I could stay there all afternoon, and I think, and rehearse. And I, like you said, just loved it so much. I felt so safe on the stage. You know, and then we developed such families in the theater department. So I did my first play when I was 13, and there were no boys in the choir, so I played the Admiral in HMS.mp4. And I played all the boy parts, and but that was okay. It was on stage, and so then I left Vermont, where I was in high school, out to LA, and just knew I was going to do that. And I went to UCLA for theater. I always known that I was going to do it. I didn't know that it was a career. I didn't know when I was very young that you could actually get paid for it and just never stop. So that's where the good fortune comes in, you know what I mean? And that's where my single-minded focus pays off, because I know I could really not do much else. But I feel so lucky, and I feel so lucky to, after all these years, I just turned 39?
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Plus a decade. I mean, I'm so old, it's not funny, and I'm still doing what I love to do, so.
And can I just say, because you said there's some performance majors, if anybody out there wants to act and you're from North Carolina or you're from Florida or somewhere, like, don't let that stop you, obviously, because there are a lot of us up here that didn't, grow up right around the industry, and now with, putting yourself on tape and the filming all over the States, go for it, because I used to watch The Cosby Show and my parents were like, you have to live somewhere else, but you don't, so.
Yay.
Yeah.
Stephen and Rob have such different ways into the business. I think you guys should talk about your choices as well.
Yeah, I'll share. I think mine's pretty unique, and talk about what I was, explaining earlier with growth and just becoming who I am now. It was, growing up, I did a lot of theater locally in town and enjoyed it, had fun with it. As I started getting into middle school and high school, theater was the Monday through Friday nighttime. Like, that was, there was a lot of rehearsal time required, and at that immature age, to me, it just was not. There's something about, like, being in high school, you need to have fun, you need to take advantage of the time, go out with your friends, get in trouble and all that. So to me, it was like, I'm just, I'm not interested into it. And it was like I didn't want to let my friends know that this is what I was interested in, this is what I wanted to do, because it wasn't, maybe cool at the time, as it's got the shtick, for which I have no idea reason why. But anyways, I go through high school, and as you kind of get to the end of it, you realize that there's so much more out there, and that, this time of your life does not define you, and that there's, the opportunities are endless once you get out of there. And so, obviously, when MTV came to my hometown, and we wound up doing Laguna Beach, all my friends that I was hanging out with in high school were like, what the heck are you doing? Like, the kids that you didn't see on TV. And I was like, I don't care. I just want to go for it. And then, I remember in shooting that, it was just the camaraderie of working with the crew, and also just getting a shot. Like, I was always constantly pushing them to break the fourth wall of like, wait, what are we trying to get? What are you trying to do? And like, you need me to do this again? All right, let's do this. And like, I understood, very, very early on what they were doing and this power of the editing and that they're doing to make this show seem, quote unquote real. So, so that was kind of like the brick that hit me in the head that was like, look, this is something that you're interested in. You were able to take the leap of faith on this, and if you stick with it, actually devote time to it, and you see that you care about it and you're passionate about it, that not all your dreams are going to come true, but amazing things will happen as long as you do 100%. And again, I feel really blessed, and it's been an interesting way because I came into this business at what some people would say would be the deathbed of what we're doing here, which is reality television. And I got to say, I'm not even a fan at all. But you know what? I did it, and I went through it, and I would go back and do it all over again because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. And you just never know. So as long as you.
Wait, Laguna Beach. Oh my God, you're that Steven? Such a fan! People are watching. Sorry. I shouldn't mean to shout into that. My high school, we had comedy sports, and it always looked incredibly cool and fun, and kind of similar to Steven, I just never had the courage to do it. It was always like, oh, that's for the other group of kids. It's not what I do, like we do, But I was just afraid to do it, and I always wanted to. And I had a theater friend who encouraged me in high school, but I never did it until my last semester of college. I studied economics, but I had an open course, so me and a couple of my roommates took Acting 1 as like a sandbag goof round course, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. And the teacher encouraged me to go to LA and give it a shot, and I thought, all right, I'm gonna apply for a few consulting jobs, and if I don't get any of them, I'll go to LA for 1 year, because my thing is I'll take failure over regret any day. And I ended up getting the last job I applied for, and I stuck it out for a year and a half. But I knew on day 2, I called my mom from my cubicle and was like, I need to resign. Like it wasn't gonna work. And I was clearly so ready to leave that a year and a half in, I was at my cousin's wedding, and I met a woman, and she said, hi, what do you do? I said, an economic consultant. And she was like, you're wasting your time. You need to be acting or modeling. And I was just so ready for life change. I was like, absolutely strange woman I've never met before. I'm gonna take that life advice. And so I did. I went back to my firm and I said, I sort of lied. I was like, I'm gonna leave to go travel Asia and then come back and get my MBA. Because I knew that sounded like semi-dignified to a group of like 30-year-old like hustling guys, and they were like, yeah, that's great. And then I think within 2 months, my first job was I booked a commercial for Ross as I got my SAG card, because I was such a pathetic dancer. They had already booked the role, and I was the last person on audition, but they felt bad for me, so they saw me and they said, can you dance so bad that you make us laugh? And I was like, just put the tape on. And obviously, as you've seen through One Tree Hill, like clearly I'm a terrifically bad, terrifically bad dancer. So very
how bad are you, Rob?
I'm wonderfully bad.
Could you prove that to us?
I made a mistake, and the other day I danced a lot.
Do you need a beatbox?
And I danced a lot on, between takes, and I did this awful move that I'll show you right now. I'm gonna regret for eternity since this is going on the DVD. I think I called it the power drop, right?
Yes, it is.
It's just when you're kind of dancing, and right when you think, when no one's looking really, sort of. It's very versatile. It's really easy to do. It's an audience favorite. Thank you.
Rebecca Ozzie is here tonight. Rebecca?
My question is for everyone as well. And if you weren't an actor, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
If we were not actors?
Yeah, if you weren't actors or actresses.
I'd be putting together my audition tape for Fear Factor, probably. Probably something trying to break into the field.
I would probably be doing what skills do already. I would be, you know, I play basketball. My son's good. You know, I was good, still good. And I coach high school basketball right now, Laverne Lutheran in California. They won state the last 2 years. They good, but I've been around basketball. So I would probably just be trying to get a check, either training some kids or coaching somebody.
You'd be in school.
I'd be in school, but in the words of Mr. Buckley, just living the dream.
I wouldn't be doing anything else because this is the only thing I've ever imagined myself doing. So I'd probably be homeless or something.
I've talked to Dr. V about this. I'd like to be a professor and try and teach something. Hopefully I'm qualified.
I think you would be an excellent professor, wouldn't you?
Yeah. One of the cool ones.
Stephen.
I didn't know we were going down the line.
It goes this way, Stephen. You know, God doesn't give with both hands.
Why am I just getting picked on here? Yeah, ruthless. Having a great time.
Kick it back.
What would I be doing? I think something similar. I'm a big sports fan, so I always thought that the commentators in sports always bothered me. No offense. No offense. So
This guy.
I always kind of wanted to change that up a little bit, and I thought maybe that would be a route that I would go. So I guess still entertaining in a way.
I as Lisa said, couldn't do nothing else. But if I had to pick, probably something that you can be bossy and get paid for. Maybe a therapist. But I don't have the patience. It's like you come see me once and you better get it. And I don't want to see you again. My boyfriend says I'd be a good lawyer because I'm always arguing. Prove your point. But that's too much schoolwork, definitely.
You would be the best therapist ever. You'd be so difficult with your patients. You'd be just like, oh, grow up.
Yeah, exactly.
We all got problems.
It would be, hello.
Exactly. I would, Jackson and I would own a chocolate shop probably. We would, we would be chocolatiers. And
Or a chocolate and pie shop.
chocolate and pie is good. That's good. Or a chocolate pie shop. But I don't know, maybe run an animal shelter. Hey, how about that? How about that? I just started a nonprofit that's animal-based, and eventually, when this career dies down, I think that's probably what I would be most interested in.
You know how there's like the creepy cat ladies out there?
They're so cute. You totally owed me that.
Yeah.
I had that coming.
Pirate.
One word. That's all you need.
If I wasn't doing this, I mean, it's sort of the same. I can't imagine doing anything else. I love to tell stories. I think it's in our DNA as human beings. It's the oldest tradition we have is to gather a group and tell stories, and now we just have this very interesting medium with which to do it. So if I couldn't be an actor, I think that I would tell stories most likely as a journalist. I would basically, pack myself in Anderson Cooper's suitcase like a stalker and take a camera and go, shoot photos and write, and I think that's how I would sort of still worm my way into telling stories.
I think to make me not sing, you would have to make me mute because there's just no other way. It just comes out of me. In that case, I would be a mute equestrian or baker, owner of a bakery, or maybe a little breakfast shop.
You can work at Jackson, and you can work at our chocolate.
Yeah, I'll make chocolates for you.
Or we can work in your shop.
Excellent. Yeah, but this is it for me for sure.
I think the older I get, the more of an appreciation I have for what my dad does, and he builds buildings. And when I was young, I was just like, oh, this looks too much work. Baby hands, I can't do it. But as I get older, it's just like I have such an immense appreciation for what he does, and I think that it's like one of the most incredible things you can do as a man is go out and build something that people work in and live in, and occupy and build cities and towns and stuff. And so I might want to work with him, and then I'm probably too much of a wuss to do that, so I would open up maybe like a pub next to your little chocolate shop and your bakery, and we'd have like a little village. It's fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have a town.
It's,
I could have a little newspaper.
Your little newspaper stand.
Yeah, yeah.
This is such a nice little town.
Isn't this One Tree Hill? Are we like creating One Tree Hill right now?
Exactly.
Cafe.
I was just thinking it's Two Tree Hill.
Chantal.
So,
what about you?
I'm going then, Chantal. I would want to take the gifts that God gave me and become a runway model. Chantal?
Well, my mom thinks that from a very young age I've always wanted to be an actress because I guess I was dramatic and outspoken. I grew up thinking I wanted to be a nun or a gynecologist, so I'm really happy that this has found me, and that in high school my friend's mom talked me out of wanting to be a gynecologist.
Yeah. You can be at the end of the block.
Yeah, I'm at the other end.
On the other side of the chocolate shop.
Okay.
Now we're learning some things.
Now we're getting to the bottom of it, aren't we?
That's
and
right.
the psychologist is going to get us all on the sofa.
That's right.
All right, our last audience question comes from Marty Time.
My question is for everyone as well. After 9 incredible seasons, what is one final message you'd like to say to all your fans?
Thank you. Seriously, thank you.
James is a man of few words, but I think he sums it up for all of us, really. This has been an incredible experience, and I had incredible friends and learned incredible things in my life, and if it wasn't for the fans being loyal to the show, we wouldn't have a show. So thank you very much.
Awesome. What a lovely evening. Can we have another big round of applause for these amazing artists?